If your spouse is studying in Canada and you want to apply for or extend your open work permit, the rules have completely changed. In this video, we are covering two specific situations for spouses of international students. The first one, you already have a work permit and need to extend it as your spouse is taking another program, or you got a shorter duration of work permit for any other reason. The second number, you are inside Canada as a visitor or in a different permit and want to change your status to a worker as your spouse is an international student. So let's start with the eligibility check first. Your spouse or common law partner must meet the following eligibility criteria for you to be eligible for an open work permit. They should have a valid study permit and must generally be enrolled in a master's degree program that is at least 16 months long, or a doctoral or PhD program, or specific professional programs like medicine, law, or engineering at a university, or participating in an eligible program under the province. So again, this is the list for eligible professional programs. You can check it over here what programs are eligible. I'll also put the link in the description box so you can go and check it by yourself on the official website. And this is the list for specified programs under the different provinces. Now let's see what documents you need. These are the documents we need to make ready before you start the application. The first one is IMM 5710 form. This I'll show you how to fill it later. The second one is spouse valid study permit, a clear color scan of both sides. Third one, a valid letter of acceptance from the designated learning institute, or a proof of enrollment letter from the DLI, or transcript from the current program. So this is what your spouse needs to provide to you. So I recommend providing as much proofs as possible. Combine all the documents from the university to a single PDF. Also make sure the letter clearly states your degree level, program name, length to prove you meet the eligibility requirement. Another document we need is marriage certificate. If it's not in English or French, you need the certified translation plus the original one, or statutory declaration of common law, that is IMM 5409, if you are not married but have lived together for at least 12 months. The other document that we need is genuine relationship proof, highly recommended if you are a recent couple. It could include photos of wedding or trips together, a joint bank account statements or lease agreements. No other document you need is obviously your passport, scan of the bio page plus every page with a stamp or a visa on it. Next, digital photo, standard Canadian immigration size. Next, proof of upfront medical. If you want to work in a certain jobs that requires medical examination, you need to do medical exam. Or you might be exempt from doing one under a temporary public policy, which we will discuss later. Another document, financial support documents that requires proof of funds. It could include bank statements showing you can support yourself. You can also upload the employment letter and pay stubs if you are working currently. And last but not the least, letter of explanation. This is not mandatory but very essential for approval. You can write one-page letter explaining what are you applying for and what's your current situation. So pause the video right now and take a screenshot of this list. The most common reason for rejection isn't eligibility, it's missing the documents. Pay special attention to the enrollment letter. It is not enough to just show an acceptance letter. The officer needs to see a current letter from the registrar's office confirming your spouse is currently a full-time student, and most importantly, identifying that they are in an eligible program to meet the new 2025 cutoff. Also, don't forget the letter of explanation. Use this to clearly tell officer why you are eligible so they don't have to guess. Start by logging in into your IRCC Secure account. Scroll down to the section, select Start an application and click on Apply to come to Canada. On the next page, scroll down and select Visitor Visa, Study and Work Permit tab button to begin. First, we need to generate your checklist. So for that, for what would you like to do in Canada, select work. For duration, choose temporarily more than 6 months. Select your passport code and your current country of residence as Canada. Select no for the family member question unless it applies to you. Then enter your date of birth. Here, when asked about your lawful permanent residence status in the US, select no. For your current immigration status in Canada, I am assuming a worker, for instance, so select worker. Now you'll see a list of scenarios here. Read each of them carefully. I want to take you to the official web page for the Spouses of International Students application and want to show you something over there. Due to a known technical issue on the IRCC website, you must answer these 3 questions exactly as shown in this official instruction. Otherwise, the system will glitch. Usually, the answer for the first question is no. When it asked, are you a spouse of common law partner or dependent child or a person who holds a valid work permit, need to answer yes even though they are a student. You need to click yes here as I showed earlier on the official website. Also, it's usually no for the rest of the questions on this page. Moving forward, are you a spouse or common law partner of a person who holds a study permit? Answer yes. Here, select the option that applies to you depending upon your spouse study program. If someone was eligible under previous rule and is just extending their work permit because they got a shorter duration, they can select the last option. For this instance, I am selecting the first one. Select your marital status as married or common law and choose your province of destination. Next, click on continue on open work permit. Are you accompanying a family member? Select yes as you are a spouse of an international student. Enter the date when your current permit expires. Have you had a medical exam in the last 12 months? Answer according to your situation. It's no for the most of the people. Now here, a medical examination is needed if one of the following applies to you. So read it thoroughly. If you want to work on these jobs, you should pass a medical exam. If it does not apply to you, you can select no and move forward, but you will get a condition imposed on your work permit stating that you are not eligible to work on the above mentioned jobs. But for now, I'm selecting yes. It is asking if you do an upfront medical, select yes. If you want to submit an application for your children together, if you have one, you can select yes and continue to provide their details. Otherwise, select no and move forward. Are you giving access to someone to your application? Select no. Asking for biometric in the last 10 years? Select yes. Then yes, I'll pay my fee. Yes for the copies. And yes for the next question as well. Now review your answer one by one. If you want to edit something, click on the pencil icon. Once you are satisfied, click on continue. Scroll down and continue again. Now, this is your document checklist. Let's start with filling out IMM 5710 form. Click on this and download the form and open from your PC's Adobe Reader. Now, first thing, your UCI. Check on your current work permit. You have UCI number on it. You just have to type that in here. Select I want service in English. On question number 3, it is generally assumed that the first option, that is apply for a work permit with the same employer, is for closed work permit applicants if they are extending their work permit with the same employer. As we are applying for an open work permit and you can work for any employer in Canada, it's usually better practice to select apply for a work permit for the first time. So click on this. Now enter your personal details. Enter your full name, family name first and given name second. If you have only one name on your passport, you can enter that on the family name section over here. Fill out the rest of the details. Select your current status in Canada and enter issue and expiry date of the permit you have. Select no for the next question if it does not apply to you. Here, select your marital status, enter the date of marriage, name of your spouse, and this question, is your spouse Canadian citizen or PR? Select no. Have you previously married? Answer this yes or no accordingly. Native language, select your mother tongue here. Communication method, choose English or French. I chose English here. Have you taken English or French test? Answer if you have or not. Passport, enter the passport number, country of issue, date of issue and expiry date. Now scroll down, national identity document. If you have one, select yes and enter the details. If you don't have, just select no. USPR card, select no unless you have a US green card. Now contact info, enter your current mailing address in Canada. Enter your full street address, residential address. Click yes if it's the same as your mailing address. For phone number, select US Canada over here, choose cellular and enter your phone number. Also provide your email address here. Now coming to Canada, date and place of original entry. When did you first land in Canada? Enter that date and place. For example, I have written Toronto Pearson Airport here. Now select your original purpose of coming to Canada. It's likely student or worker for most of the applicants. Now most recent entry. If you have traveled recently, enter the last time you entered Canada and the place you entered from. If you haven't traveled, just leave it blank. Document number of your most recent permit. This is optional, but you can find it on the permit here on the top in the black letters. Enter this one on the form. Now what type of work permit? Select open work permit. Job details. Since it's an open work permit, you can leave the employer name and address blank, as you can work for any employer anywhere in Canada. At the bottom, have you been issued a PNP certificate? Select no. Now in the education section, check yes if you have post-secondary education. Enter the most recent or highest level of education you have. Enter the dates, field of study, example business or science, the name of your school or university, and the location of your school. If you have multiple degrees, you must include them in the client information section, as there is not another box for education information here. In the employment section, enter all the jobs you have had in last 10 years. Don't skip any, especially if you are going to claim CRS points for them in future. List your current activity or occupation first. Enter the date from when you started and leave the two sections blank if it's your current job. Enter job title, for example, administrative assistant. Enter the name of the company. Enter where you work, the address. Now keep going and keep adding the previous jobs that you have done below. If you run out of the space and you still have more employment history to declare, you must use the client information section again. I'll show you the use of client information section later, as there are many things that we need to include in there. Now coming to the background information. This section's response differs from person to person, so please read and answer accordingly. But in the section 2 here, in 2A, have you remained beyond validity? Usually no. 2B, have you ever been refused a visa? Check no unless you have a rejection history. If yes, explain where you applied, what you applied, and when it was in the box below. In 2C, have you applied to enter or remain in Canada before? Check yes, as you are already in Canada, and in the box below, type the responses for any of the yes from the above questions. For example, I checked yes for 2C, so I'm writing that I applied for this, and you can disclose all your applications that you did before. Now continue with the rest of the questions. Select yes or no for the consent here. Now in the signature panel, just type your full name and select today's date over here. It's time to cross-check everything you entered in the form, and if everything is right, then click on validate. You can do it from the top of the form or from the bottom of the form. If everything is correct, you'll see a validation completed successfully message. Then you scroll down to the very last page and you should now see barcodes. Make sure these barcodes are generated before you save this to your computer. This is the file you're gonna upload it in the IRCC Shaker portal. Now let's come back to the IRCC Shaker portal. So this is from where we downloaded the IMM 5710 form. So if you see over here, you can see the upload file section. You can select that and upload the IMM 5710 form that we just filled. Scrolling down on this section where we have to upload the supporting documents, we already discussed what we need to scan before in our document section of this video. So you're gonna follow that, and on this right hand side you're just gonna upload all the documents that you have prepared. So you upload the passport here, proof of student enrollment. As we already discussed, you need to gather as more proofs as possible and combine them in a single PDF and upload it here. Similarly, for the digital photo, you can click over here to see the requirement of the photo, and you can upload your digital photo in that section. Next is proof of upfront medical exam. Here is some great news. IRCC has extended a temporary public policy until October 5, 2029, and you may be exempt from doing a new medical exam if you meet all 4 of these conditions. You are applying for a temporary or permanent residence from inside Canada. You currently live in Canada. You have completed a previous immigration medical exam in the last 5 years, and that previous exam showed low risk or no risk to the public health. If this applies to you, you do not need to go for a new medical exam. Instead, create a simple PDF that includes a copy of your previous medical information sheet, the e-medical sheet from your last exam, and a letter of explanation stating that you are exempt from doing a medical exam. If you do not meet these conditions, you must complete a new upfront medical exam with a panel of physicians and upload the e-medical information sheet. So you're gonna upload that in this section over here of your upfront medical or an exemption letter. Following that, we have family member proof of status section. This is where you're gonna upload your spouse valid study permit, scanned both sides, and upload in this section over here. For marriage and license certificate, you have to upload the translated, if it's not in English, the translated plus the original one in the marriage and license section over here. If you are living in common law relationship, you're gonna have a different IMM form in this section over here, and you have to fill that out. So as I said earlier, if you got married recently, you have to upload more proofs to prove that your marriage is genuine, so your relationship is genuine. So combine all the proofs that you have and upload in this section here. Scrolling down in the optional document section, you don't have to fill out this IMM 5257 form, as this is for the applicants outside of Canada. So the client information section, this is also a very strong section where we need to upload all the relevant and supporting proofs to our application. So for example, I am showing you here a client information section sample where you can write a letter like this, as I'm showing on the video right here. Write a letter to the visa officer and address your subject, and write, I am providing additional documents or supporting documents to my open work permit application from inside Canada. So what you can do is make a table of content like this, where you can put the document name on one section and following with page numbers on the right hand side column. So I am adding here a letter of explanation. It is always recommended to write a letter of explanation whenever you submit an application to the IRCC. So you state your situation and you tell them why you are applying this application. Similarly, following that, as I said earlier, if you don't have enough sections on IMM 5710 form to provide additional details, that could be your work history or education history, right? So you can add those things in this section here in different page. So this is just a table of content. So on the following page, you're gonna have a letter of explanation, additional information if you are unable to fit all those things in the IMM 5710 form. And finally, financial document, where you can include your bank statements, or if you are working, you can provide your employment letter and pay stubs. And not only this, if you have any other relevant supporting documents that makes your file stronger, you should add that in this client information section. So after this first page, the following page will gonna have all the things that you mentioned on this table of content all combined in a single PDF, merged, and you're gonna upload it in the client information section. Once you have uploaded all your required and optional documents, scroll to the very bottom of the page. You should see that your total fee is 255 Canadian dollars. This covers $155 work permit processing fee plus $100 open work permit holder fee. And after uploading all your documents, you will be able to see a continue button and you can click that. You will be taken to a final declaration and electronic signature page. On there, type your name. Then you will be redirected to the payment gateway. After entering your credit or debit card details, you pay the fee. As soon as the payment goes through, you'll see a transaction approved on screen, and shortly after, you'll receive a submission confirmation email in your inbox. Congratulations, your application is now officially submitted to IRCC. This is your complete guide to the Spousal Open Work Permit extension for spouses of international students residing in Canada. I know these new rules can be confusing, so if you have a specific questions about your situation, drop a comment below. I'll try to answer as many as I can. And when your work permit gets approved, you can apply for TRB. For that, you can watch this video on the screen. And I'll see you on my next one. So until then, take care and goodbye.